Fleet Admiral Taman stared at the holographic display floating above his command chair and felt his blood turn cold. The massive dreadnought Sovereign's Will had been patrolling the outer rim sectors for 3 standard cycles without encountering anything more dangerous than space pirates and smugglers. Now the main sensor array was showing something that should not exist. Communications Officer Minji, run a full diagnostic on the sensor array, Taman commanded while keeping his eyes fixed on the impossible readings. The energy signature was massive, far beyond anything in the galactic database. It appeared suddenly at the edge of the system, like someone had just switched on a small star. Minji's fingers danced across her control panel. Her face grew pale as she read the results. "Sir, all sensors are functioning perfectly. The readings are accurate. There is definitely something out there." Taman stood up from his command chair. His years of military experience told him to be cautious, but his curiosity as a tactician made him want to investigate immediately. "What exactly are we looking at?" The tactical officer, a young lieutenant named Wu Jin, manipulated the holographic display to zoom in on the unknown contact. "Sir, it appears to be a vessel of some kind. The energy output is approximately 15 times greater than our own ship. The design is completely unknown." The bridge fell silent except for the quiet humming of the ship's systems. Every crew member knew that the Sovereign's Will was one of the most powerful warships in the Vorten Empire's fleet. The idea that something could be 15 times more powerful was both fascinating and terrifying. "Sir, we're receiving priority communications from High Command," Minji announced. "All nearby fleets are being ordered to converge on our position immediately." Taman was not surprised. The automated sensor networks that monitored the galaxy's communication channels would have detected the same anomaly. Within hours, every major power in the galaxy would know about this mysterious contact. "Put the ship on yellow alert," Taman ordered. "All departments should prepare for possible first contact scenarios." The unknown vessel hung motionless in space, like a dark metal mountain. Its hull was smooth and black, reflecting no light from the nearby star. Strange symbols were carved along its sides in a script that looked both ancient and somehow familiar. The ship was enormous, easily 3 times the length of Taman's dreadnought and twice as wide. "Sir, long-range sensors are detecting multiple hyperspace signatures approaching from various directions," Wu Jin reported. "It looks like the Zephyrian hegemony, the Ethereal Collective, and at least 4 other major powers are sending fleets." Taman nodded grimly. First contact situations were always politically complicated, but this one would be especially dangerous. When multiple galactic powers arrived at the same location simultaneously, the risk of conflict increased dramatically. War Prince Dohyun of the Zephyrian hegemony was the first to arrive. His flagship, the Crimson Talon, dropped out of hyperspace with a flash of red light, followed by 12 escort vessels. The Zephyrians were known for their aggressive military doctrine and their tendency to shoot first and ask questions later. "Incoming transmission from the Zephyrian fleet," Minji announced. "Put him through," Taman replied. Do-hyun's scaled face appeared on the main view screen. His reptilian features were twisted into what might have been a smile but looked more like a threat display. "Admiral Taman, how convenient to find you here. I trust you will not interfere with Zephyrian territorial claims." "This is neutral space, War Prince," Taman responded calmly. "No single power has territorial claims here." "Everything is territorial when the hegemony decides it is," Do-hyun replied before cutting the transmission. More ships continued to arrive throughout the next several hours. The crystalline bioships of the Ethereal Collective emerged from hyperspace like living jewels, their translucent hulls pulsing with internal light. High Counselor Yeji commanded their fleet from a vessel that looked more like a work of art than a warship. The machine intelligences of the Nexus Protocol sent a fleet of geometric constructs that defied conventional understanding of ship design. Their vessels were angular collections of spinning parts that somehow held together despite having no visible connections. Admiral Kyungmin of the Galactic Peacekeeping Force arrived with a mixed fleet representing dozen different species. Her ship, the Unity's Promise, was designed specifically for diplomatic missions and carried representatives from most of the major galactic governments. "This is getting out of hand," Taman muttered as he watched more and more ships arrive on his tactical display. The space around the mysterious vessel was becoming crowded with over 200 warships from 17 different species. "Sir, we're receiving a general broadcast from Admiral Kyung-min," Minji reported. Kyung-min's image appeared on the screen. She was human-looking but with blue-tinted skin and silver hair, marking her as a member of the Altarian species. "All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Kyung-min of the Galactic Peacekeeping Force. I am establishing a neutral zone around the unknown contact. All vessels must maintain a minimum distance of 50,000 kilometers. Several fleet commanders immediately protested the order, but most complied. The unknown vessel remained silent and motionless throughout all the political maneuvering happening around it. Dr. Hein, aboard the research vessel Distant Shore, was the first to make a significant discovery. Her xenobiology team had been conducting detailed scans of the mysterious ship for several hours when they detected something unexpected. "Admiral Taemin, this is Dr. Hein." Her voice came through the communication system. "We've detected biological signatures aboard the unknown vessel." "What kind of biological signatures?" Taemin asked. "That's the strange part, sir. The DNA patterns are unlike anything in our database. The genetic structure suggests a species that evolved on a high-gravity world with a dense atmosphere. What we call a death world. Death worlds were planets with environmental conditions so harsh that most galactic species considered them uninhabitable. The fact that an intelligent species had evolved on such a world and developed advanced spaceflight technology was remarkable. Hours passed without any response from the mysterious vessel. The assembled fleets maintained their positions while their commanders engaged in increasingly heated diplomatic discussions about who had the right to make first contact. Then suddenly, the unknown ship's communication array activated. "All vessels. This is Captain Sun-ho of the Earth vessel Indomitable." A voice came through the universal translators. The translation was rough and filled with static, as if the language was unlike anything the computers had encountered before. "We are requesting safe passage through this system. We mean no harm to any vessels present. We seek only to return to our home world." The word Earth sent shockwaves through every fleet in the area. According to all galactic records, Earth was a primitive world in an unremarkable system. The species that lived there had barely achieved nuclear technology and were confined to their single toxic planet. Yet here was a vessel that appeared to possess technology more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen, claiming to be from that same primitive world. "This must be some kind of trick," War Prince Do-hyun declared over the general communication channel. "No species from Earth could build something like this. Our records show Earth's inhabitants as primitive," High Counselor Yeji added. "They have not even achieved faster-than-light travel." Captain Sun-ho's voice came through the speakers again, clearer this time as the translators adjusted to his language patterns. "We understand your confusion. We have been traveling for a very long time. We only wish to go home." The massive ship began to move slowly, changing its orientation toward a distant part of the galaxy where Earth's system was located according to the star charts. As it moved, its hull caught the light from the system's star, revealing intricate details in its construction that had been hidden in shadow. The vessel was clearly built using principles of engineering that were completely unknown to galactic science. Its hull materials seemed to absorb and redirect energy in ways that defied current understanding of physics. "Sir," Wu Jin reported quietly, "our tactical computers cannot even begin to calculate this ship's offensive capabilities. Its weapon systems are completely beyond our understanding." Taemin stared at the mysterious vessel and realized that everything the galaxy thought it knew about the universe was about to change. The arrival of this single ship had already shifted the balance of power in ways that no one could predict. As the Earth vessel continued its slow movement toward its home system, every fleet commander faced the same question. Should they allow this unknown force to leave peacefully, or should they try to stop it and risk the consequences of challenging something they did not understand? The tension in space around the unknown vessel grew thicker with each passing hour. Admiral Kyung-min watched her tactical display with growing concern as more ships arrived and the various fleet commanders became increasingly aggressive in their communications with each other. War Prince Do-hyun had positioned his ships in what was clearly an attack formation, despite the supposed neutral zone. His vessels moved in precise patterns around the perimeter, their weapon systems powered but not yet targeted. The Zephyrian military doctrine emphasized overwhelming force as the solution to most problems. Admiral Kyungmin, this is Captain Min-jae of the research vessel Distant Shore, came a transmission from Dr. Hain's ship. We have some very important findings to share with the fleet commanders. Go ahead, Captain, Kyungmin replied while keeping one eye on the Zephyrian fleet movements. Our xenobiology team has been analyzing the biological signatures from the unknown vessel. The genetic patterns we're detecting suggest a species that not only evolved on a death world, but actually thrived in those conditions. Their DNA shows adaptations for high radiation, extreme temperatures, and atmospheric pressure that would crush most known species. Dr. Hain's voice joined the transmission. Admiral, what we're seeing is impossible according to current evolutionary theory. No species should be able to develop such comprehensive adaptations to hostile environments while also achieving the level of intelligence required for advanced spaceflight. High Counselor Yeji, whose crystalline bioships were drifting nearby, interrupted the discussion. Perhaps we should consider that these beings are not telling the truth about their origins. The vessel's technology is clearly beyond anything that could develop on a primitive world. Captain Sunho's voice crackled through the communication system again. The translation was becoming clearer as the computers learned more about the human language patterns. We understand your skepticism about our origins. We have been away from Earth for many cycles. Our technology may seem advanced to you, but to us, it is simply what was necessary to survive the journey home. War Prince Do-hyun's ships suddenly changed formation, moving into a more aggressive pattern. Enough of this deception, his voice boomed across all communication channels. No primitive species could build such a vessel. You will submit to boarding and inspection immediately or face the consequences. The space around the unknown vessel filled with the energy signatures of charging weapons as dozens of ships powered their offensive systems. The Zephyrian fleet was not alone in their aggressive posture. Several other powers had also decided that the mysterious vessel represented either a threat or an opportunity that needed to be investigated by force. Captain Sunho's response was calm and measured. We have no desire for conflict. Our vessel carries no aggressive intentions toward any of the species present. However, we will not submit to boarding. We seek only passage to continue our journey home. Admiral Taman found himself in an impossible situation. His orders from the Vorthon Empire were to investigate any unknown contacts and report back with detailed intelligence. But his military experience told him that attempting to board a vessel with unknown capabilities could lead to disaster. All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Kyungmin, she broadcast on the general channel. I strongly advise against any aggressive actions. We are dealing with an unknown quantity here, and escalation could have unpredictable consequences. But her words fell on deaf ears. The political pressure from various homeworlds was mounting. Every government wanted to know what this mysterious vessel represented and whether it posed a threat to galactic security. Dr. Hain made another discovery that changed everything. Her team had been conducting deep-range biological scans when they detected something that made her call an emergency meeting of all senior researchers in the fleet. The DNA patterns we're reading from that vessel, she announced during a multi-ship conference call, they match theoretical models for what human DNA should look like after thousands of years of genetic adaptation and enhancement. Commander Yuna from the Galactic Intelligence Service, who had been monitoring the situation from her stealth vessel, finally revealed her presence. Dr. Hain, are you suggesting that the beings aboard that vessel are actually humans from Earth? That's exactly what I'm suggesting, Hain replied, but not the primitive humans from our current database. These appear to be humans who have undergone massive genetic and technological development over an extended period. The implications of this discovery sent shockwaves through every fleet. If humans had developed such advanced technology, it meant that all galactic intelligence about Earth was either outdated or deliberately false. Captain Sunho seemed to sense the change in mood among the assembled fleets. His next transmission carried a note of sadness. We know this is difficult for you to understand. When we left Earth, we were indeed the primitive species you describe in your records. Our journey has taken us far from home and changed us in ways we did not expect. Fleet Marshal Junho of the Draconic Supremacy, whose massive battleships had just arrived in the system, immediately took an aggressive stance. If you are truly from Earth, then you represent a potential threat to galactic security. Your technology appears to exceed anything in known space. You will submit to inspection or be destroyed. The human response was immediate and chilling in its simplicity. We will defend ourselves if attacked. Admiral Taman realized that the situation was spiraling toward a conflict that no one fully understood. The human vessel had demonstrated no aggressive behavior, but its mere presence was causing panic among the galactic powers. Every government was afraid that humans might represent a new threat to the existing balance of power. "Sir?" Lieutenant Wu Jin reported quietly. "Our computers have been analyzing the energy signatures from the human vessel. The readings suggest a power generation system that operates on principles we don't recognize. If those energy levels were used for weapons, the destructive capacity would be beyond anything we've ever seen." The various fleet commanders continued their heated discussions while the human vessel remained motionless in space. Captain Sunho had stopped responding to communications, perhaps realizing that words were no longer sufficient to resolve the situation. War Prince Do-hyun finally lost patience with the diplomatic discussions. "I am issuing a final ultimatum. The unknown vessel will submit to boarding within 1 standard hour, or the Zephyrian hegemony will consider it a hostile act and respond accordingly." Other fleet commanders quickly joined in with similar ultimatums. The pressure from their respective governments was too great to ignore. The discovery of potentially advanced humans had triggered every species' deepest fears about being technologically surpassed. Captain Sunho's final transmission before the ultimatum deadline was brief and carried a note of resignation. "We had hoped to pass through your space peacefully. We have no desire to harm any of the species present here, but we will not allow ourselves to be captured or detained. If you force us to choose between submission and defense, we will choose defense." The human vessel began to change. Energy patterns across its hull shifted and pulsed in new configurations. Previously hidden sections of the ship opened to reveal systems that had been concealed during their initial scans. Dr. Hines' voice came through the communication system with obvious alarm. "All ships, be advised that the unknown vessel is activating systems we hadn't detected before. The energy readings are spiking far beyond what we thought possible." Admiral Kyungmin made one final attempt to prevent what was about to happen. "All fleet commanders, I strongly urge you to reconsider. We don't know what we're dealing with here. An attack on an unknown vessel with superior technology could result in casualties we're not prepared for." But the political pressure had reached a breaking point. Every government had made the same calculation. The risk of allowing an unknown human vessel to leave with its advanced technology was greater than the risk of attempting to capture or destroy it. Fleet Marshal Junho gave the order that would change galactic history. "All ships, prepare for coordinated attack. Target the unknown vessel and prepare to fire on my command." Over 3,000 ships from 17 different species began charging their weapons systems simultaneously. The space around the human vessel filled with the energy signatures of the most massive military force ever assembled in galactic history. Captain Sunho's voice came through the speakers one last time, calm and sad. "So be it." The human vessel began to move, its massive form shifting position with surprising grace for something so large. Previously hidden sections of its hull opened further, revealing systems that glowed with an inner light that seemed to bend space around them. Every sensor in the assembled fleet registered the same impossible reading. The human vessel was somehow drawing energy directly from the fabric of space-time itself. The countdown to what would later be known as the Battle of First Contact had begun. Fleet Marshal Junho stood on the bridge of his flagship Eternal Dominion and surveyed the greatest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Over 3,000 vessels from 17 different species formed a massive sphere around the lone human ship. The combined firepower of this fleet could destroy entire solar systems, yet something about the calm way the human vessel waited at the center made him uneasy. War Commander Ji Han, Junho's tactical advisor, was studying the readings from their most advanced sensors. "Sir, the unknown vessel's energy output has increased by another 40% in the last 10 minutes. Our computers still cannot identify the source of their power generation. Junho nodded grimly. The Draconic Supremacy had built its reputation on having the most powerful military in the galaxy. Their ships carried weapons that could crack planets and shields that could withstand the full output of a star. Yet the readings from the human vessels suggested technology that operated on principles beyond their understanding. "Sir, incoming transmission from War Prince Do-hyun," the communications officer announced. Do-hyun's scaled face appeared on the main screen, his reptilian features showing barely contained aggression. "Fleet Marshal, the Zephyrian hegemony is ready to commence the attack. Our targeting computers have locked on to what we believe are the vessel's critical systems." "Acknowledged, War Prince," Junho replied. "All fleet commanders, prepare for coordinated bombardment on my signal." Admiral Taman watched the preparations from his command chair aboard the Sovereign's Will and felt a deep sense of unease. His Dapasai's years of military experience had taught him to recognize when a situation was about to go very wrong, and every instinct he had was screaming warnings. "Sir," Lieutenant Wu Jin reported quietly, "our tactical analysis suggests that the human vessel's defensive capabilities are likely far beyond anything we're prepared for. Their hull material appears to interact with energy in ways that don't match any known physics." High Counselor Yeji's crystalline bioships had taken positions throughout the fleet formation. Her vessel pulsed with different colors as her crew, coordinated with other ships through their telepathic communications network. "All ethereal collective vessels report ready for synchronized attack," she announced over the general channel. The machine intelligences of the Nexus Protocol had arranged their geometric constructs in perfect mathematical patterns around the human ship. Their vessels rotated and shifted constantly, creating overlapping fields of sensor coverage that monitored every aspect of the target. Admiral Kyung-min made one final attempt to prevent what she knew would be a disaster. "All fleet commanders, I am formally requesting a delay in the attack to allow for further diplomatic attempts. The potential consequences of this action could destabilize the entire galactic community. Your objection is noted and overruled," Fleet Marshal Junho replied coldly. "This vessel represents a clear threat to galactic security. We cannot allow it to leave without determining its capabilities and intentions." Captain Sunho's voice came through the communication system. "One more time." The translation was now perfect, as if the human computers had finally adapted completely to the galactic languages. "Fleet commanders, we do not wish to fight you. Our vessel carries no weapons designed for aggression against other species, but we will defend ourselves if you force us to do so." Dr. Hyen aboard the research vessel Distant Shore was monitoring the biological signatures from the human ship when she detected something that made her heart race. "All ships, be advised that the life signs aboard the unknown vessel suggest a crew of only about 50 individuals. How can such a small crew operate a vessel of that size?" The answer to her question became clear as the human ship began to change. What had appeared to be a single massive vessel started separating into distinct sections. Hull plates shifted and reorganized, revealing that what they had thought was one ship was actually a modular fleet of smaller vessels that had been traveling in a combined configuration. "Sir, the target is separating into multiple contacts," Jihan reported with obvious alarm. "We now count 17 distinct vessels, each one still larger than most of our battleships." Captain Minho's voice joined the communications from what appeared to be the command section of the human fleet. "This is your final warning. Cease your hostile actions immediately and allow us to continue our journey. We have no desire to harm you, but we will not allow you to harm us." Fleet Marshal Junho felt the pressure from his government weighing on his decision. The Draconic Supremacy could not appear weak in front of the other galactic powers. "All ships, commence bombardment. Target all 17 vessels simultaneously," the order went out across the entire fleet. 3,000 ships representing the pinnacle of galactic military technology began their attack. Energy beams that could melt continents, kinetic projectiles traveling at significant fractions of light speed, and exotic matter weapons that could destabilize atomic structures all converged on the human fleet. The space around the human vessels lit up like a newborn star as the most devastating bombardment in galactic history commenced. The combined energy output was so intense that several smaller ships in the attacking fleet had to raise their shields to protect themselves from the backwash. For a moment, the human ships disappeared completely in the brilliant light of the attack. Every sensor in the fleet registered massive energy releases as their weapons struck their targets. It should have been the end of the human threat. Then the light faded, and the human fleet was simply gone. "Where are they?" War Prince Do-hyun shouted over the communication channel. "All ships, report contact status immediately." Long-range sensors began detecting the human vessels scattered throughout the system, having somehow moved thousands of kilometers in an instant. They had avoided the entire bombardment with a level of precision that suggested they had known exactly where every shot would be before the weapons were even fired. "Impossible," Admiral Taman whispered as he stared at his tactical display. "No ship can move that fast. The acceleration required would destroy any crew aboard." Captain Minho's voice came through the speakers, still calm despite what had just happened. "You have fired upon us without provocation. We gave you every opportunity to resolve this peacefully. Now we must defend ourselves." The human vessels began to move again, but this time their movement was different. Instead of the instantaneous displacement they had demonstrated before, they now moved with fluid grace through the fleet formation. Their ships seemed to dance between the attacking vessels, avoiding weapons fire with movements that defied conventional understanding of physics. "Sir, they're not just avoiding our weapons," Jihan reported with growing panic. "They're positioning themselves for counterattack. But I can't identify any weapon systems on their ships." The human response began subtly. Ships throughout the attacking fleet started reporting minor system malfunctions. Navigation computers began providing incorrect readings. Weapons targeting. Systems lost lock on their targets. Communication arrays started broadcasting static instead of clear signals. "What's happening to our ships?" High Counselor Yeji demanded as her bioships began drifting out of formation. Dr. Hein had the answer. "They're not attacking our ships directly. They're somehow interfering with our technology at a fundamental level. It's like they're speaking to our computers in a language our systems can't resist." Admiral Kyung-min watched in amazement as the human vessels moved through the fleet formation without firing a single visible weapon. Yet wherever they passed, attacking ships became disabled, not destroyed, not damaged, simply turned off like someone had flipped a switch. "Sir, all our primary systems are offline," Lieutenant Wu Jin reported from the Sovereign's Will. "Life support is still functioning, but everything else has stopped responding to commands." The same reports came in from ships throughout the fleet. The humans were systematically disabling every attacking vessel with a precision that demonstrated complete understanding of galactic technology. They were neutralizing the threat without causing unnecessary casualties. Battle Coordinator Neon aboard the Nexus Protocol command vessel was the first to understand what was really happening. Her machine intelligence gave her a perspective that organic minds struggled to grasp. The humans are not using weapons as we understand them. They are using technology that operates on a level above our current understanding. They are not attacking our ships. They are communicating with them and convincing them to shut down. Within minutes, over half the attacking fleet was drifting powerless in space. The human vessels continued their careful dance through the formation, disabling ship after ship with what appeared to be casual ease. Fleet Marshal Junho found himself commanding a fleet that could no longer fight back. His most advanced weapons were useless against an enemy that could simply turn them off. All remaining ships attempt to withdraw to minimum safe distance, but even that was impossible. The human vessels had positioned themselves throughout the fleet formation in such a way that escape routes were blocked, not by force, but by the simple presence of ships that could disable any vessel that came too close. Captain Minho's voice came through the speakers again. "Fleet commanders, we are not your enemies. Time Index 0000. Fleet Marshal Junho gave the final attack order from his flagship Eternal Dominion. Every weapon system in the massive combined fleet fired simultaneously at the 17 human vessels. The space around them erupted in a brilliant display of destruction that could be seen from several light years away. Time Index 0003. The light from the bombardment began to fade, revealing empty space where the human fleet had been moments before. Long-range sensors detected the human vessels scattered throughout the system, having somehow avoided the entire attack without a single hit being scored. Time Index 0.07. Captain Minho's voice came through the communication system from the human command vessel. His tone remained calm, despite the massive attack that had just been launched against his fleet. You have chosen to attack us. We will now defend ourselves. This is your final opportunity to cease hostilities. Time index. Show 12. The human vessels began to move through the attacking fleet with fluid precision. Their ships seemed to flow like water around the larger galactic vessels, avoiding return fire with movements that appeared to violate several laws of physics. Time index 0018. Admiral Taman aboard the Sovereign's Will watched his tactical display with growing alarm as human ships passed within meters of his vessel's hull. They're not attacking, he reported to the fleet commanders. They're positioning themselves for something. Time index 0025. The first ships in the attacking fleet began reporting system failures. Navigation computers crashed, weapons targeting, systems went offline, and communication arrays started broadcasting static. The failures spread through the fleet, like a wave following the human vessel's movements. Time index 0031. War Prince Do-Yun's flagship, Crimson Talon, lost all primary systems while attempting to ram one of the human vessels. The human ship simply wasn't there when the collision should have occurred, having moved at the last instant with impossible acceleration. Time index 0038. Dr. Hine aboard the research vessel. Distant Shore made a crucial observation. The humans are not using conventional weapons. They appear to be interfacing directly with our technology and convincing it to shut down. Our computers are responding to signals we can't even detect. Time index 00.45. High Counselor Yeji's crystalline bioships began drifting out of formation as their biological systems fell into what appeared to be a peaceful sleep state. Her telepathic crew reported feeling overwhelming sensations of calm and safety before losing consciousness. Time index 0052. The Nexus Protocol's geometric war constructs, which should have been immune to any attack that targeted biological or conventional electronic systems, also began shutting down one by one. Even machine intelligences were somehow being affected by the human technology. Time index A1.0. Admiral Kyungmin realized that the human vessels were demonstrating a level of technological sophistication that rendered the concept of conventional warfare obsolete. They were not fighting the attacking fleet so much as gently turning it off. Time index 0107. Battle Coordinator. Neon made the connection that changed everything. They're not attacking our technology, she broadcast to the remaining functional ships. They're communicating with it on a level we don't understand. Every system in our fleet is designed with basic mathematical and logical principles. The humans appear to have technology that can speak directly to those principles. Time index 01.15. Captain Minho's vessel approached Fleet Marshal Junho's flagship directly. Instead of attacking, it simply hovered nearby while invisible forces reached out and methodically shut down every system aboard the Eternal Dominion except life support. Time index 0123. War Commander Jihan aboard the Draconic flagship made a terrifying discovery while reviewing the tactical data. Sir, our computers have been analyzing the human fleet's capabilities during this engagement. Based on the precision of their movements and the efficiency of their actions, this appears to be a routine defensive response for them. They're not even using their full capabilities. Time index 0130. Half of the attacking fleet was now drifting powerless in space. The human vessels continued their careful movement through the formation, disabling ship after ship with what appeared to be casual ease. Not a single shot had been fired by human weapons, yet the most powerful military force in galactic history was being systematically neutralized. Time index 0138. Lieutenant Wu Jin, aboard the Sovereign's Will, detected something in the human ship's data transmissions that made him call Admiral Taman immediately. Sir, I'm picking up fragments of data from the human vessels. Their computer systems are accessing our ship's databases and downloading information about our technology, our governments, and our military capabilities. Time index 0145. The full scope of what was happening became clear to Admiral Taman. The humans were not just defending themselves. They were conducting a comprehensive intelligence operation while simultaneously demonstrating their overwhelming technological superiority. Every ship they disabled provided them with complete information about galactic civilization. Time Index 0152. Dr. Hine made another disturbing discovery. The biological signatures I'm detecting from the human vessels suggest that their crew members are not experiencing any stress or fatigue from this engagement. Their heart rates and brain activity remain at baseline levels. For them, this is apparently a routine operation. Time Index 02 Escrow. Captain Minho broadcast a message to the remaining functional ships in the attacking fleet. We have now demonstrated our defensive capabilities. Your vessels and crews are unharmed, but your weapons are no longer functional. We ask again that you allow us to continue our journey home. Time Index 0207. Fleet Marshal Junho, sitting powerless aboard his flagship, realized that his government's greatest fear had just been confirmed. Humanity represented a level of technological advancement that made every other species in the galaxy obsolete. The attack on the human fleet had not been a military engagement. It had been a demonstration. Time Index 0215. More human capabilities became apparent as their vessels began what appeared to be repair operations on the disabled galactic ships. Invisible energy beams reached out from the human fleet and began restoring functionality to critical systems on the attacking vessels, demonstrating that they could turn systems back on just as easily as they had turned them off. Time Index 0223. Admiral Kyung-min watched in amazement as her ship's systems came back online under human control. The repairs were not just functional, but actually improved several systems beyond their original specifications. They're not just fixing our ships, she reported. They're upgrading them. Time Index 0230. The scope of human technological superiority became even more apparent as their vessels began transmitting detailed repair instructions to the disabled ships. The instructions showed solutions to engineering problems that galactic scientists had been working on for centuries. Time Index 0238. Battle Admiral Yuna aboard her stealth vessel, which had somehow remained undetected throughout the engagement, made a discovery that changed her understanding of the entire situation. The human vessels are not just more advanced than our ships. They appear to be more advanced than our understanding of what is possible. They're using technology that operates on principles we haven't even discovered yet. Time Index 0245. War Prince Do-hyun, whose ship was among the first to be disabled, received a direct communication from Captain Minho. War Prince, we bear you no ill will. Your aggressive actions were based on fear and misunderstanding. We hope that this demonstration will help you understand that we pose no threat to your people. Time Index 0300. The last of the attacking ships were systematically disabled by the human fleet. 3,000 vessels representing the pinnacle of galactic military technology now drifted in space, their crews unharmed but their weapons completely useless. Time Index 330. Captain Minho made a final broadcast to all disabled vessels. Fleet commanders, we have completed our defensive operations. Your ships will be fully restored to operational status within the next few minutes. We ask only that you allow us to continue our journey to Earth without further interference. Time. Index 04-0. The engagement was over. The greatest military force in galactic history had been defeated in exactly 4 minutes by a small human fleet that had never fired a single shot in anger. The humans had demonstrated capabilities that rendered conventional warfare obsolete, while simultaneously showing remarkable restraint in their use of that power. As the human vessels began restoring full functionality to the attacking fleet, every commander faced the same sobering realization. They had just witnessed the emergence of a species whose technology was so advanced that resistance was not just futile, but completely pointless. The galaxy would never be the same. The silence that followed the engagement was more profound than the chaos that had preceded it. 3,000 ships drifted in space, their crews staring at displays that showed fully functional systems restored to better condition than they had been before the battle began. The human fleet hung motionless at the center of the formation, waiting. Diplomatic envoy Yejin of the Galactic Council was the first to break the silence. Her vessel, the Peaceful Resolution, had been among the few ships that had not participated in the attack, maintaining its position at the edge of the system as required by galactic law during first contact situations. Captain Minho of the Earth. Vessel. This is Diplomatic Envoy Yejin of the Galactic Council. I request permission to come aboard your vessel for formal first contact negotiations. Captain Minho's response came immediately. Permission granted, Envoy Yejin. We welcome the opportunity to speak with representatives of the galactic community. Please approach our command vessel and we will facilitate your arrival. Yejin's ship moved slowly toward the human command vessel, her crew maintaining careful sensor sweeps to document everything they observed. The human ship's hull revealed new details as they approached, showing technological features that defied easy categorization. The human vessel is extending what appears to be a docking mechanism, her pilot reported. The design is unlike anything in our database, but it seems to be adapting itself to match our ship's configuration. The docking process was smoother than any Yejin had ever experienced. The human ship seemed to anticipate her vessel's needs and adjust accordingly. When she stepped through the airlock, she found herself in a corridor that felt strangely familiar. Despite being completely alien, Captain Taeyong of the Earth Expeditionary Force was waiting to greet her. He was tall and lean, with features that were recognizably human, but somehow enhanced. His movements showed the kind of perfect coordination that suggested genetic improvements beyond current galactic understanding. Welcome aboard the Indomitable. Envoy Yejin, he said in perfect galactic standard, though she noticed he spoke with an accent that seemed to incorporate elements from dozens of different languages. I apologize for the circumstances that brought us together, but I hope we can use this opportunity to establish better understanding between our peoples. Yejin followed Captain Taeyong through corridors that seemed to shift and adapt around them. The walls displayed information in scripts she didn't recognize, while soft lighting provided illumination that somehow felt more natural than any artificial source she had encountered. Captain, may I ask how long your people have been traveling? Yejin inquired as they walked. Time becomes complicated when you're moving between star systems at the speeds we travel, Taeyong replied thoughtfully. By our calculations, we left Earth approximately 800 standard galactic years ago, but the journey has taken us through regions of space where time flows differently. They entered what appeared to be a meeting chamber, though the room seemed to reconfigure itself as they arrived to provide optimal acoustics and comfort for both species. Captain Taeyong gestured for Yejin to take a seat at a table that materialized from the floor. I believe you have questions about our technology and our intentions, Taeyong said. I will answer what I can, though some information may be difficult for your current level of science to understand. Chief Science Officer Huna joined them in the meeting chamber. She was smaller than Captain Taeyong, but moved with the same enhanced coordination. Her eyes held depths of knowledge that suggested centuries of accumulated learning. Envoy Yejin, we understand that our demonstration of defensive capabilities may have been alarming to your fleets, Huna began. We want you to know that we used the minimum force necessary to protect ourselves while ensuring no harm came to your crews. Your minimum force disabled the most powerful military formation in galactic history, Yejin replied carefully. If that represents your basic defensive capabilities, I can only imagine what your offensive capabilities might be, Captain Taeyong. And Science Officer Huna exchanged a look that suggested they were communicating through means beyond speech. That is one of the things we hope to discuss, Taeyong said finally. Your species and others in this galaxy have developed along paths that prioritize military power and territorial expansion. Humanity chose a different path. What do you mean? Yejin asked. Huna activated a display that appeared in the air above the table. It showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy with thousands of systems marked in different colors. Envoy, Yejin, humanity has been present in this galaxy for much longer than your records indicate. We have been watching, learning, and quietly guiding when necessary. The display zoomed in on various systems, showing human installations and monitoring stations throughout galactic space. You have been observing us? Yejin asked with growing amazement. Observing and protecting, Captain Taeyong confirmed. Your species, along with many others, have been developing in what we consider a carefully maintained environment. We have prevented certain catastrophic conflicts, subtly influenced research directions away from planet-killing weapons, and ensured that no single species gained enough power to threaten the others. The implications of this revelation hit Yejin like a physical blow. You're saying that human beings have been managing galactic civilization? Not managing, Hyuna corrected gently. Shepherding. Humanity learned long ago that true advancement comes not from conquest, but from growth. We have been allowing your species to develop naturally while preventing the kind of catastrophic mistakes that could destroy entire civilizations. Ambassador, Kangmin entered the meeting chamber, his presence commanding immediate attention. He was older than the others, with silver hair and eyes that held the weight of centuries. Envoy Yejin, I am Ambassador Kangmin. I have been designated to explain humanity's role in galactic affairs. Your fleets attacked us because you feared our technology, Kangmin began. But you failed to understand the most important aspect of that technology. We could have destroyed every ship in that formation within seconds if that had been our intention. Instead, we demonstrated restraint and compassion even while defending ourselves. The display above the table changed to show detailed analyses of every ship in the attacking fleet. During the engagement, our systems analyzed the technological capabilities of every vessel present. We found that most of your weapon systems are designed with built-in limitations that prevent them from being used for planetary destruction. Yejin stared at the data. You're saying that our weapons were designed by humans? Not designed, Captain Taeyong clarified. Influenced. Over the centuries, human agents have worked within your scientific communities to guide research in directions that promote defense, rather than offense. Your species believe you developed these technologies independently, but you were actually following paths that we helped create. The scope of human involvement in galactic civilization was staggering. Ambassador Kangmin continued his explanation, while the display showed evidence of human influence in dozens of different areas of development. We have prevented 17 different species from developing antimatter weapons that could destroy solar systems. We have quietly resolved 43 potential interstellar wars before they could begin. We have guided the development of faster-than-light travel to ensure that it remained accessible to all species rather than being monopolized by any single power. Why? Yejin asked. Why would you do all this while remaining hidden? Science Officer Hyuna answered. Because forced advancement leads to corruption and abuse of power. True growth must come from within. We have been waiting for the galaxy's species to develop the wisdom to handle advanced technology responsibly. And do you believe we have developed that wisdom? Yejin asked. Ambassador Kangmin considered the question carefully. Today's events suggest that you still have growing to do. Your immediate response to encountering something you didn't understand was to attack it. But your willingness to send a diplomatic envoy after that attack shows promise. Captain Taeyong stood and moved to a viewport that showed the assembled fleet. Envoy Yejin, humanity is preparing to make a choice that will affect the entire galaxy. We can continue our role as hidden guardians, watching and guiding from the shadows. Or we can reveal ourselves fully and begin working openly with the galactic community. What would open cooperation with humanity mean for our species? Yejin asked. It would mean access to technologies that could eliminate scarcity, disease, and the conflicts that arise from competition for limited resources, Hyuna explained. But it would also mean accepting that humanity's role in the galaxy has been far more significant than any of your species realized. Ambassador Kangmin activated a new display showing human colonies throughout the galaxy. We have settlements in over 10,000 systems. Our population numbers in the trillions. We have technologies that allow us to create habitable worlds, from barren rocks, and to travel between galaxies in a matter of days. The revelation was overwhelming. Humanity was not just more advanced than galactic civilization, they were the dominant species in the galaxy and had been for centuries, hidden, in plain sight. What do you want from us? Yejin asked. We want you to grow.